Authentic here with a submitted replay from the ranked queue. This time it is a 1v1 on Mars between GFox and Ryak. I've seen Ryak before on this channel. Ryak's a pretty decent player. I'm not sure that I've casted GFox before. Maybe they were in a new players tournament. I can't remember off the top of my head. Really interesting to see how that goes. We do have robots, scavengers, scientists, and nomads. Nomads probably shouldn't be taken as there's not a lot of silicon and this $200 electronics price. So I'm thinking that this spot right here looks pretty good for a scavenger, especially with this aluminum nearby and the geotherms. There's a lot of aluminum on this map. Robots, not really any scientist location, so maybe we're going to see two scavengers, maybe we're going to see a robot. There goes Ryak taking a strong found at a pretty good price. Probably should have taken that a bit earlier, as I think it is the best found on the map, so we're going to have to see what GFox decides to do. In response, GFox founding for a robot over here, going to ship some of that iron long distance. That's going to give Ryak an ability to attack, especially because this long distance shipping is going to be vulnerable to the underground nukes. But we'll just have to see how our players handle this situation moving forward. GFox upgrading HQ2 right away. Doesn't have any iron or any money to keep those steel mills online, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Ryak needs another 80k of aluminum to upgrade. Forgot to purchase the aluminum immediately on found, so that's not good. Always remember, when you found, you want to purchase up to 80 aluminum if you can afford it, especially before your opponent is found, so that way your opponent takes that much longer to get to the upgrade, because they have to purchase that aluminum or wait for it to come in. Well, in this case, GFox probably, well, GFox crushed 20 aluminum, and robots only need half aluminum to get to the upgrade. So wouldn't do as much in this case, but nevertheless. Ryak moving into some glass kilns. Glass kilns make the best money on the board, so that's not too surprising, but doesn't have any money to buy that oxygen. Moving into the high silicon, and the first nuke comes out from GFox onto Ryak's medium carbon, turning it into a trace, and that's what I like to see players, that it's always better to nuke down from a medium to a trace rather than a high to a low. So that's a tile that Ryak would have wanted to defend first. Ryak's black market cooldown is back up. Needs to maybe hit this metal mine. That would probably be the most painful out of the bunch. Going for water is not really useful in this case because there's so much nearby, likewise with the aluminum. So Ryak probably get the 3.5k needed and then nuke out this metal mine here. Needs to respond in kind. Instead upgrading, which is decent for the long term, I suppose, but still means you're vulnerable to things like that happening, more nukes coming out, and then all of a sudden this strong scavenger spot is now not that strong. Gonna need to rotate out of this, move into a triangle of elemental quarries here. Also, Ryak could have just purchased a goon. Yeah, this needs to be a triangle, not spread out like this to get the maximum adjacency bonus. But right now, GFox completely controlling the entirety of the offensive black market, which is not what you want to see when you are a scavenger. Scavengers do have that cooldown advantage for offensive black market items, and in a 1v1 especially, they need to be using them. Instead, going for a mule to get carbon, that's completely unnecessary because you could have a triangle of carbon here. You need to move out of this elemental quarry into something else. Water's rising. Price of water is rising, that is. Power's rising. Let's see, does GFox have any sort of answer to power? Nope, no answer to power at all. Ryak does have this single geotherm coming up, but geotherm, without the ability to defend it, is going to be an easy target for GFox in 10 seconds. So I'd expect to see something to happen along with those lines. GFox is a little bit behind, as ryak does have almost the same amount of cash as GFox does, and GFox is behind one level. How long will it take for GFox to upgrade? GFox is the close one claim to use. 15k, 14k, so 1k before GFox hits the upgrade, and then normalizes a series. Another nuke is kind of coming out from ryak onto GFox Iron. Unfortunately, GFox has the ability to upgrade, so this won't hurt them as much as it could have, and they also had that claim sticking around they sat on for far too long, but that's going to come into use this time. But I do like to see that ryak is getting aggressive, even if it's not the best aggression. Needs to get out of these glass kilns, has driven up the price of oxygen really high. Moving into water would have been a good idea a long time ago, especially considering how much water price is increasing, but moving into greenhouse farms without any water to power them, that's not the best idea, and then it looks like GFox is going to immediately buy into that water market here just to make ryak's farms that much worse. So ryak going to cancel out of them and all that build time wasted. GFox probably going to sail out of the water right now as ryak gets into water. But the water, at least one of these water tiles, should have been what ryak went for in the beginning. GFox isn't see death though. That's pretty dangerous. Still hasn't upgraded to HQ level 3. Has plenty of money to do so. Needs to hit that upgrade button. Still one level behind the scavenger, so ryak definitely can come back from this, especially now that ryak has plenty of water and then moving into some farms of their own. Has plenty of electricity online and was making power money, still making a decent amount of power money, so ryak with a good amount of power money. More nukes coming out from ryak onto the iron of GFox. Unfortunately, that's probably not the best area to attack. I'd rather see an EMP on these farms over here because steel's so cheap that GFox is just able to buy the steel from these farms over here, 157 each. So that's definitely what I would do if I were ryak, especially because ryak's moving into farms of his own and they are frozen. That would have been, I think, a strictly better offensive move here. Ryak does have 2 more claims and moving into some more electrolysis reactors, but they're building too close to the rest of the building. This should go straight out on a line just to make it a little bit harder to hit the entirety of the base with the EMPs. Ryak is doing a good job though with this power market. They should be right back into positive power money very shortly, and GFox in danger here of falling into D-debt. How much more does it need? 123k, so a couple more interest ticks along with all the shipping without any power. GFox is in D-debt and won't be able to do anything, but GFox does have an EMP, and ryak still underusing the scavenger EMP ability. Another EMP raining down on ryak, and ryak did doing this geothermal plant, which is probably where this black market cooldown went. I would have much preferred to see it go into something offensive, because look at that, $190 now. GFox is getting all of that money, smartly stockpiling it instead of selling it all the way down, because ryak still hasn't been able to get on their farms online, so GFox knows that stockpiling it and just making it so ryak wants to get back into those farms using the 0.72 food per second from the colony and GFox 0.9 food per second consumption just increases that price GFox has. GFox catching up to HQ level 4. Indeed, though, needs to do something about that, and power is disappearing rapidly, so that's not going to be an easy way to get rid of debt. So GFox needs to have some sort of plan to control this debt moving forward. Has 4 claims, needs to do something with those claims. Moving into some electronics wouldn't be a bad idea. More water also wouldn't be a terrible idea either. Doesn't have any fuel. Fuel's price is increasing, so these chem refineries are not making any money. Ryak upgrading HQ5 has 5 claims, looking at a similar sort of situation, except that the electronics price just changed rapidly. Probably because ryak just purchased a whole bunch of carbon, because once again they're only in these 2 carbon quarries when they should be in a triangle of lows. As I mentioned earlier, teleportation coming out, ryak's going to be able to bid a lot more for that. And simply because GFox is in danger of that dynamite on the geothermal plant. I didn't notice when this came up, but 2 geothermal plants is a little bit too much with power this low. ryak needs to get out of these solar panels and move into something else. And then, where did ryak use it on? A farm? Probably should have just held on to that for a little bit. Shortage in glass. ryak and or GFox needs to buy into glass. GFox still has 4 claims if they're not using. We need to do something with these claims. Doing a suboptimal thing with the claims is better than just sitting around here with these 4 claims sitting here unused, because they could at least be making, fuel, which would make the chemical refineries more profitable, right? That would be strictly better than sitting here with 4 claims not doing anything with them. Going into glass would also be a decent idea. More farms would be a decent idea. Alright, we finally have a couple of claims coming out, and it's going to be a whole bunch of glass kilns. Would like to see some movement into silicon, perhaps, maybe just 1 tile. There we go. But that took too long to decide what to do with those claims. Finally, an EMP from ryak coming out, and GFox has an EMP and hits right back. ryak going into glass of their own. GFox and glass of their own. 2 more claims for ryak, 0 claims for GFox. ryak does need to use those claims. Moving into some more water might not be a bad idea. Water's actually getting quite pricey for some reason. Probably, well, GFox has enough water. ryak is the one who does not have enough water, so ryak's been buying water off the market. ryak needs to get out of these solar panels, move it into something else. Has one more claim to do. Take one of those waters with those claims. Has a patent lab disguised as an optimization center. Not sure what patents ryak wants to go for. ryak is going to try and force GFox to defend, which is a good idea. That optimization center gets blown up. Or patent lab disguised as an optimization center, I should say. This buy's not going to go anywhere. GFox is too close, so ryak does want to get out of that buy and just move into more late game opportunity. 25k launches for oxygen. That's not the best launch market ever, but that is with oxygen being 110. But carbon's so hard I don't see offworlds being possible for ryak. GFox on the other hand could think about moving them. No, not really. Offworlds are not an option, so players are going to need to optimize with optimizations and go into hacker rays to finish out this game, is what we're looking at in this sort of 1v1 situation here. Glass is being completely killed. GFox doesn't have quite enough silicon, so if you're ryak, you want to buy up that silicon because ryak has plenty of silicon. So purchasing this silicon and just making GFox's 3 glass kilns wasted tiles would be a great opportunity for ryak here, especially because ryak does have the cash able to do that sitting up here in GFox's stock. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. There was a little bit of purchasing going on from ryak there, but just not enough. Moving into a Pleasure Dome disguised as a patent lab. That's not going to be that great because it is a scientist and a robot. GFox also does need to upgrade sometime in the near future, but steel has finally gotten expensive along with electronics. Moved into electronics, so that's making pretty good money, $96 per second. ryak needs to think about moving into that market too. Probably should have moved out of the glass kilns already. Pulled down carbon way too much, carbon all the way down. The electronics are so high that offworlds still remain a improbability. GFox coming up with a decent amount of cash in hand, deciding to upgrade to HQ5, shooting the price of steel into the stratosphere. Neither player has enough upgrade resources. In this game, water's really high, I mentioned earlier that ryak wanted to grab that third water tile, and you can see why. Water's just too expensive. Nanotech coming out for ryak. Decent pickup, virtual reality, then carbon scrubbing. No need to go for carbon scrubbing. Carbon scrubbing so cheap, and Offworlds aren't going to happen anytime soon. That pleasure in the sky goes a patent lab, gets blown up. GFox has full claim. We'll see what they're going to decide to go into. Water's a great idea. They do have plenty of claims that are on water. Could go in here. Also, not enough offensive black market items from ryak. Ryak's being hit by plenty of offensive black market items, but she does have a 9k EMP. Could just put that right over here, right where the spy is. This is such a great EMP-able target. Put that EMP right there. And you knock out so much money from GFox for such a long time. High water tile all the way over there. Ryak can afford it. Ryak does need to actually win this, especially with teleportation. Nukes are still an option. And something else Ryak could have done is just nuke this elemental core earlier, bought into silicon, and then shut down GFox's glass production, prevent GFox from getting any of that money. Carbon scrubbing coming online for ryak. GFox buying into ryak. Ryak needs to sell out of these shares. These shares are sitting here doing absolutely nothing for ryak, and then start defending themselves. GFox 2 claims, needs to put those claims down. Going to steel would be a pretty good idea. Steel is nice and expensive. Water price has been killed, so the food price will go up as soon as this dust storm is done. But ryak not defending themselves, and GFox does take out ryak. Ryak not on top of the ball, unfortunately. An interesting game between these two players, both players with plenty of things that they could learn from, and hopefully this replay gave both of you some ideas on what to focus on in your next games. I want to thank GFox for sending in the replay. It was an interesting one. And if you enjoyed this replay cast, hit that like button, subscribe, or leave a message in the comments. Phil Fennec signing out.